Hey guys, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I hope you've all had a really, really nice holiday, assuming that you celebrate such things and you've had the opportunity to be able to do that. And I certainly have. It's been an opportunity for me just to kind of like chill out a little bit. This year's been quite busy, and I was recently on holiday as well. So then, kind of coming back and catching up with work and stuff, it's all been a bit full on. So I thought I would do Battle Mode Steam Year in Review 2023. This is just going to be my, 2023 retrospective. Um, as you'll see, it's not going to be the most exciting video. I actually only played 30 new games this year, which is not a lot considering that I, you know, generally do stuff for Explorminate. I've kind of, since I started working at Stardock, I've not really been able to do much for Explorminate, and I've been kind of winding it down anyway, for various reasons, just because I was trying to build my YouTube channel for the most part, and I was a bit busy. So I kind of handed the, Rob asked me to hand the editor-in-chief job back over to him so he could take more kind of firm hand on it, because I wasn't really able to do very much for him in the last few months. And I still do some of the podcast editing occasionally. But other than that, I've like kind of, just doing the modding, the management stuff over at Explorminate and doing the podcast, but I've pretty much stepped back. And that's been good for me in a sense, because it's been good to work on my channel, and that's mostly what I've been doing this year. Like this year, my channel really took off in a big way. So thanks to all of you guys for watching, because if it wasn't for you, it wouldn't have taken off. But yeah, because of that, and then joining Stardock unofficially kind of around the end of August, I think it was. Or did I officially join in August? I can't remember now. Anyway, I've been there about 6 months, and whether it was contracting there and the full-time job. And that kind of like, I was basically just playing Galciv. So if you look at the playtime, I played 638 sessions of Galciv. 31% of all my gaming time this year was played with Galciv 4. So even taking off my Stardock hat and just talking as Ben, this is my game of the year. I think this, out of all the games that were officially released this year, this is the best. I can't think of any other game that I really enjoyed in a big way that was released this year. So I'm not going to talk a whole lot about Galciv 4. You've heard me talk about it like no end. For those of you who don't watch, my Galciv series, I'll just kind of briefly summarize what it is. It's a great Space 4X game in a long line of venerable. It's a venerable series. It was out like the first version of the original Galciv is older than Master of Orion. Okay. Brad Wardell's been working on this series in various forms for over 30 years. I think it's 30 years, and like it's just come on and on and on and on. I think I didn't really play Galciv too much, but I think people generally thought that was a highlight of the series. I really like Galactic Civilizations 1 on the Windows version. I think it's a really, really, really good game. But Galciv 3 I liked, but I didn't love, but I liked it. And Galciv 4 has really taken over. It's like way better now. In my opinion, I think it is by far the best Galciv game. It's one of the best Space 4X games. It's still a little bit janky in places because there's still a few bugs in there that Stardock are kind of hunting down. The game was a bit of a rescue dog in that the original Galactic Civilizations 4, when it released last year onto Epic, wasn't great. It was quite a mediocre game by all accounts. I didn't play it a whole lot, to be honest. I played it a bit and there was like, yeah, this looks okay, but I want it to be finished. Rob kind of panned it. And I think a lot of people panned it. It didn't get very good reviews. So Stardock took that on the chin, went back to the drawing board, brought some new people on, including the CEO, Brad Wardell, came back to head the team to do Supernova, which is kind of like a new content adding update, which basically fixed all the problem. Well, most of the problems with Galciv 4. I think it's a drastically better game now. In fact, it's gone from being a mediocre 4X game to being one of the best Space 4X games that I've got. The explore, exploit, and expand phases of the game are my favorite out of all Space 4X at the moment. I love it. It's so fun just to kind of finding out what's around you in the galaxy. And the colony management's really, really good. The resource management in the game is really, really good. The faction diversity is becoming really good with a lot of the new updates. A lot of the best stuff, by the way, with Galciv 4 has come in the last couple of months. And it's just got better and better and better. I'm not going to bang on about it, but it is my game of the year. I think it was better than Age of Wonders 4. And I know a lot of you are going to be grinding your teeth going, you know, oh, it's not better than Age of Wonders 4. Age of Wonders 4 will release in a way better state. There's no denying that, okay? Galactic Civilizations 4 was a little bit buggy and a little bit, you know, kind of unpolished and still some stuff that really needs looking at, but it is an exponentially better game than Age of Wonders 4. And the main reason why it's better than Age of Wonders 4, in my opinion, and again, I say that I don't want to trigger anyone, because I know Age of Wonders 4 has got a fanatical following. A lot of people really love it. I don't. It's not that I dislike the game, but it's just kind of had it's just too balanced. It's too, like, it's clearly designed for multiplayer. And it's just, you know, there's just no faction diversity. It doesn't really seem to matter. Or at least, okay, I've had people argue with me over this, but in my opinion, it doesn't really feel like any of the decisions you take in the game really matter. You never really feel like you're particularly threatened. You got to ramp the difficulty right up in order for the AI to be competent. I just don't think it's a great game. However, it is fun, and I love the tactical combat in Age of Wonders. I'll come to that in a minute, but Galciv 4 pips it for me. It's just a way more fun game. It's still a bit rough around the edges. But the recent content updates have really made it better. And this is like, and again, I have to say, you know, like, I work at Stardock, so take with everything that I say with a grain of salt, and you must do as well. But I'm not the sort of person, and I've told, you know, Stardock know this. I am not the sort of person to say that something's good if it's not, even if I'm working on the damn thing. Okay, so if I didn't like Galciv 4 and I was working on it, I would just shut my mouth and wouldn't say anything, because I wouldn't want to shame Stardock, but at the same time, I'm not going to lie. I refuse to do it. So I won't tell you something sucks if it sucks, okay? But so yeah, it is an excellent game. It's my game of the year, and to be fair, it wasn't a great year for games. So for me, anyway, I mean, I know there are some great games that were released off the PC, which I'll talk about in a minute. Okay, so yeah, that was my most played game of the year, but most of this was at work, to be honest. I haven't been able to play the game a whole lot. Like I didn't get as much playtime in Galciv, I don't think, outside of work as I would have done Conquest of Elysium or Dominions. These are the two big games that I play all the time. Illwinter game design are my favourite people in the games designers on the planet, and don't get me wrong, I love Stardock. Stardock make great games. But these guys have made my favourite games, my two favourite games. Conquest of Elysium 5 is a couple of years old now, and Dominions 5 is a few years old. We are just about to see the release of Dominions 6 in about 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks. And I should be getting a copy of Dominions 6 soon to take a look at, because I've got a press copy for it, because Illwinter have very kindly offered to send me a press copy. I don't know when I'm going to get it. I'm hoping I get it in enough time to be able to write a review for Explorminate, which that's the next thing I'm going to do for the site, is I'm going to be writing Dominion 6 review where I can. But yeah, I played this a lot this year, and it wasn't multiplayer either. Like, when you're playing Dominions multiplayer, you're kind of making turns every day, right? And okay, so let me go back to the start. What are these two games? If you don't know, I'm assuming most of you will know what these are if you're following my channel. For those of you who don't, they're both made by a Swedish company, or a Swedish couple. A couple of guys called Johan and Christopher, and those guys, they are in Illwinter game design. They are both really into their history and mythology. They make strategy games. They share some graphics assets. So, like, the units in the games are shared can be shared between the two, but and they're both fantasy games. Other than that, the similarities pretty much end. This is kind of a roguelike. It looks a bit like a roguelike with tiles, but it's an adventure game. It's kind of like a cross between a 4X and roguelike and a kind of auto battler adventure game, basically. And I think that to call this an adventure strategy game is probably the best way that I can sum it up. It is played against AI opponents, but there's also a player versus environment thing going on, because there's kind of like neutral factions. You have to conquer Elysium. It's a procedurally generated map. You pick a character class, you get to recruit a load of units, and including majors and kind of like rank and file units. There's something like 20 something coming on 30 different character classes now. They're all really different. The faction asymmetry in this game is second to none, and it's not what I would call lazy asymmetry, where you kind of lock factions out of, this is the one that can go on the sea, these are the guys that can't trade. It's kind of not like that. It's more that the factions, they just have really unique game mechanics that are that don't lock other factions out of general mechanics, if you follow me. Instead, each civilization has its own unique stuff. And there's a mountain of content in Conquest of Elysium. I think this is my favorite game at the moment. It's very hard to distinguish between the two because they're both quite different. So this is the adventure strategy game. You play this, to win, but also it always throws really interesting situations at you. Exploring the continent of Elysium and the surrounding islands and all the different planes of existence that's in there is really, really good fun. It's always an adventure, and often you might have won the game, but you just want to go and oh wow, I've got into Inferno, the sort of hell dimension. I'm going to go and have a play down there and see what I can do down there. Or you might be really, really losing the game really badly, but because the way that the AI plays, it's possible to come back from some absolutely crippling losses, which is unlike Dominions. So this is just an excellent single player game. It's also, by the way, if you can find a few people to play it with, and you have to play it at the same time, it's a turn-based game, but you have to be online when you're playing it together. But this is a fantastic multiplayer game now as well. If you've got a buddy who gets it, yeah, like I've got a couple of guys that I play this with. Shouts out to my mate Captain Oates and to Coffee, the two guys I mostly play this with. And there's a few other guys like Marlowe and a few others that I played with before. But if you've got a couple of buddies who get this game, who understand it, they see what it's got to offer, and you get on well, and you like hanging out with people for long periods of time, this is a fantastic multiplayer game as well. So Conquest of Elysium 5, my favourite game probably. Then we got Dominions 5. This is more of a hardcore sort of war game, I guess. It's primarily designed for multiplayer, but the single player is actually very good as well. It's better than most people claim. A lot of people say, Dominions 5's not got very good single player. I disagree. I think that as long as you are, again, you can play it kind of in an exploratory sort of adventure kind of style, a little bit like Conquest of Elysium. It's not quite so good for that because it is a war game. You take over provinces using armies. Again, it's got auto battler combat. The combat's way more. This is a much more complex game than Conquest of Elysium 5. But anyway, this is just like massive amounts of content. Conquest of Elysium's an older series, but Dominions has probably had a bit more attention with the amount of content that's got in it. It's got like something like 100 different nations now. I don't know if it's that many. It might be 80 or so, split over 3 different ages. They're all drastically different. Again, huge faction asymmetry. Yeah, loads of different mechanics that are, some of them are shared across the different faction nations, but some of them they're completely unique. Totally unique mechanics. And this is getting like I say, it's getting an update. So yeah, I'm going to go on about the Illwinter stuff too much. These are the games that I play most in my spare time. This year, I've played. I had a couple of. So before I started at Stardock, I was working as a janitor, basically. I was a cleaner. I wanted to do something that was kind of physical, and it was good for my health to kind of get out of the house because I've been sat on my arse for a long time being a student while I was studying at the University of Edinburgh. And I thought, like, yeah, I'm going to just get it. I don't really want to get an office job or anything like that yet. I'll make a go of my YouTube channel. And so I took on this cleaner's job. But because I did that, I was only working like 6 hours a day, I think it was, officially. But I think I was home after 3 most days, getting paid. It was great. So like I was able to play loads of games and do other stuff as well. But Dominions 5, I got well back into this in a single player mode. And I was just playing through various nations that I'd never played and just really got back into it. So that's I spent a lot of time playing Dominions this year, just offline. I don't think I played any multiplayer games this year. I can't remember now. I don't think I did. So yeah, there we go. But a lot of my time in Conquest of Elysium 5 was spent playing multiplayer. I spent loads of time with my friend Coffee playing this year and we had a blast. Okay. All this stuff, I don't really care. I do not care about Steam achievements one bit. That doesn't mean nothing to me. I played 101 games. The Steam median is 4. I saw Daz Tactic talking about this. I'm also surprised that the median, games that people play is so low. I think most people pick a game that they like and they just play that. So, sorry, I'll go use a bit of a slightly offensive term, but kind of normie gamers. Because and I don't mean that in a rude way, by the way. I just mean normal gamers who aren't addicted to video games and, try and make a job of it. Most people just kind of pick a game that they like. And for example, my missus her Steam median would be, her Steam like number of games would probably be something like 20 or something, and she doesn't even play Steam games that often, but it would be no way near mine, right? This is not a lot for me, by the way. Like, if you look at the previous years, you'll see that was going to be a lot higher. I've stopped just buying games because I can afford them, because I've got a big pile of shame on Steam and on the Nintendo Switch as well, which is my other console that I use. I've got quite a lot of games that I haven't played, so I kind of refuse just to buy games for the sake of it now. So I'm buying and playing less games, basically. My longest streak was 70 days. I don't really know what that means. I think that's 70 days consecutively playing, which is kind of horrifying, isn't it? Don't stare into the abyss, guys. when you start thinking about what you've been up to, I'm sure I could have learned a language in that time. What kind of games did I play? There's some weird stuff on here. Look, I don't know what these titles are. Extraction shooter. I don't play those. What the hell's an extraction shooter? What is that even? This will be from playing Mech Warrior 5 and Mech games. Look, so I played a lot of Mech Warrior 5. I really like that game. Space games I played a lot of. Obviously Galciv. Galciv must be the aliens as well. Stealth games I played a lot of. Because I really like Metal Gear Solid 5 still, and I think it was mostly that I was playing in the stealth genre. I also played Hitman 3, I think, a little bit this year. So I like stealth games a lot. I like Metal Gear Solid 5. It's one of my comfort food games that I install when I can't be bothered to play strategy games, and I just want to play something that's kind of familiar and fun. I get endless pleasure from that. Early access, obviously, is high because of Galciv as well. So, yeah, and then there's some of the meaningless jargon. I wrote a lot of reviews this year, 20 reviews. Okay. Oh, by the way, I'll address this now, right? I get quite a lot of friend requests, and I've stopped adding people I don't know. And the reason is because I had a couple of bad experiences with people, that I didn't really know, kind of adding them. I added them, and then they started doing stuff that I didn't like. So, if you do know me, or if you want to, just come on the Explorminate Discord and send me a message. And I'll talk to you. And if you're somebody that I want to add as a friend on Steam, then I'll add you. I'm sorry, it sounds incredibly arrogant, but I had a really bad experience this year, and I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to talk about it. But let's just suffice to say that this wasn't pleasant, and it pissed me off. And so I'm really cautious now about adding people that I don't know. So if you've sent me a friend request and I've not replied, I'm sorry, that's what it is. I just don't want to add people I don't know. And but I'm always up for talking to people on Discord. So if you send me a message on Discord and approach me in the right way, then we can chat. But I don't really add people on Steam. I don't even have many of my own friends on Steam. I don't really have a lot of people on Steam, to be honest. Most of the people that I've added here on Steam this year have been Stardock, various stuff. Okay, Galciv 4. Yep, loads of stuff, loads of achievements. This is mostly stuff that I've done at work. Okay. You picked up this game for the first time and were immediately hooked. Actually, that's kind of true. The reason why I got the job at Stardock was because I picked up Galciv for Supernova, and after they released it, and I was like, actually, this game's really good. Like, wow, this is way better than Galciv 3, and it was. And then I kind of just fell in love with it, and I did some videos, and then kind of Brad and all that were watching. So I think that's what happened. Also, Conquest of Elysium 5, here we go, look. So I played it a lot in April. You'll see that Dominions as well. Look, I played this a whole lot in April. And in August, this was... Okay, I was playing loads of Dominions in August. So this is when I was transitioning from being in my old job into working at Stardock. So I had more time here. I think I remember what happened. Okay, so... yeah, this was when I had my old job, and I had a few days like where I was just playing shitloads, and I just played like all day straight a few times. It's kind of sad to say. So I was kind of like, and this was what I was playing when I was chilling out from work. And I was like, okay, working on Galciv all day, don't really want to play Galciv all the time. So Dominions became my game in August and September that I was really blasting out. Conquest for Elysium, you'll see that I didn't really play it so much in that time. This would have been multiplayer with my friend. But yeah, I was playing Conquest for Elysium a lot earlier in the year. But this game, you see, this game gets played a lot. And I've started playing it again as well recently. Underrail. So I don't just play strategy games, right? I play all sorts of stuff. I play everything from kind of arcade games and shoot 'em ups to stuff like Tekken and fighting games. I'm just a gamer. I play all kinds of games. I like simulations, I like war games, and I like CRPGs. And this is a very, very good CRPG. It's a very, very hard, difficult kind of... It's a difficult game. It's made to be punishing. It's made to kind of... It's basically for fans of the original Fallout, I think. I didn't really play the original Fallout games, but I just came across this game, heard that it was really, really hard, and then I was like, okay, that's got my interest. Because when a game's difficult, I know that it's difficult, but it's also complex. Those two things will always pique my interest. So I played it a whole bunch in March. I started again here, and then I dropped it while I was working, and then I picked it back up for a little while in October and November, and I played the shit out of it again. And yeah, I like Underrail. I'm still not finished. I'm in the DLC area at the moment, so in the expedition part in the Black Sea. But this is like yeah, it's kind of a post-apocalyptic game set underground. We don't really know how far into the future it's supposed to be, but I think it's quite far. Humanity's been through at least one apocalypse, and yeah, there's your character is just basically sent out on a mission to try and reach other places in the Underrail, and there's this whole thriving thing going on, and it's a wonderful game. It's an incredibly good game, and I expect that it'll be... This is a classic. This will be a future classic. It's too early to call it a classic, but I mean, I don't know. It came out years ago. I think it came out in about 2014 or something. I think it was around even longer than that in early access. So it's not a new game now, but I think it's old enough that we can call it a classic. I think it's going to be a classic game. I think it's excellent. It's not perfect. It's got some, you know, it really, I think until you really understand it, you need to safe scum your way through it, and it really encourages safe scumming in that respect. But it is designed to be a game that, even though once you've played through the story and you've explored this massive world and all the different stuff in it, it's because it's strongly based on the tactical combat, and the tactical combat in it is so damn good that it's designed for players who really love the combat to keep replaying over and over, trying out different builds. There's so many different things you can do in this game. Yeah, it's amazing. It's a special game. If I had more time, I've been thinking about doing a thing called RPG Sundays or CRPG Sundays, where on a Sunday I play some CRPG games and kind of, you know, showcase the games that I like. This would have been a good game to do, but it's just so long. I'd never finish it. It's like, you know, 80 hours for a playthrough minimum. Distant Worlds 2, looks like I played this a lot in January. This is right at the start of the year. I was beta testing this. I've kind of like I've not been doing that because, yeah, I can't really like working at Stardock. Even if I am legally allowed to, which I'm not sure I am. Even then, I think it's kind of not fair on Codeforce or Stardock if I do so. I've kind of dropped off the beta testing program. However, I've got loads of time for Codeforce. I really like Eric Routins a lot. I think he's a really great guy. And they've made a banger of a game. This released poorly, and it's a real shame that it released poorly because it's really hurt the game's sales, I think. But we knew this would happen. It's what happened with Distant Worlds Universe. It's got better and better and better. And this year, I'd say around kind of this time, about August, September, October, this game went from being like, you know, a good game to being an excellent game. And it's working really nicely. I really want to play this. The problem is kind of like Underrail. It's a big, long game. And, you know, like you're looking at 40 to 80 hours for a playthrough on a decent sized map. So it's like a big, long game. I don't know how Daz Tactic finishes the series of Distant Worlds. Maybe he doesn't. Okay, playtime by month. I don't know how interesting this is to you. Yeah, definitely got a little bit more playtime in August and September. This gaming addict. A lot of this was because I'm at work as well. Look, you'll see here. This is where I was working. You know, in a place where I wasn't able to play games. Whereas, you know, a lot of this time is just playing Galciv. Look, this is my working hours. Longest daily streak, 70 days. Yeah, okay. So during this time, you played 32 different games. Let's check out the games. Let's just go down to the games that we played. So we've talked about these. Warhammer 3 Total War. Oh boy. What can we say about this game? Well, there you go. I stopped playing it. Why did I stop playing Warhammer? And I was doing a series. I did a series of this in April, and I actually completed it. Like, I was proud of myself for completing that campaign, even though it was a particularly easy campaign. It wasn't very challenging, but this is a funny game. There's been a whole lot of controversy this year with Creative Assembly, the publisher of this, the developer of this game, and Sega, the publisher. I'm not going to really go into it. I can't be bothered. It's been done to death. Put simply, Creative Assembly have got in trouble financially. I think we're starting to realise this now. They're in trouble financially. They made some terrible decisions with regards to building, developing other games. This game was an absolute cash cow for them, and they messed it up by pissing everybody off, by being greedy, trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, and just being general, like, pretty bad. I'm not jumping on the hate wagon. I don't care. I don't care about Creative Assembly or Warhammer or Total War enough to have that much of an opinion of it. What I will say is that watching some of the criticism of this game opened my eyes to the fact that the Warhammer series has got a lot of bloody problems. And even though I enjoy it, I still think that it's not the best Total War game. Let's just say that. So I kind of got into Medieval. I started playing Medieval, look. And you'll see, I played the hell out of this game. I played it loads. I played it 55 sessions. I played an 11-day streak. And this is not me playing Medieval, the base game. This is me playing a Lord of the Rings mod called Middle-earth Divide and Conquer. Or I think, yeah. It's Divide and Conquer is the mod anyway. So it's a sub-mod or a mod. And it's a Lord of the Rings mod. I really was into Lord of the Rings at the time. I actually read through all the books again this year in The Hobbit and just really kind of got myself back into the Lord of the Rings. I'm a massive Lord of the Rings fan. I have been ever since the age of about 7 or 6. No, that's not fair. I read The Hobbit when I was about 7. I think I started reading the Lord of the Rings at 8 or 9, and I was reading it at school. So it was what got me into reading in a big way, and it really shaped my life. I'm a huge Tolkien fan. So and anyway, and Medieval 2 base game is good. It works really well with the Lord of the Rings. So I played the hell out of this. It was great. I didn't get around to playing it on the channel. I'm not very good at it, so that's why. Age of Wonders 4. You'll start to see. Look, these are the games I played mostly, like these ones here. Everything else I really didn't play that much. Like I only probably put about 20 hours into Age of Wonders 4. So the rest of the games are really, this is like a handful of hours now on each of these. Age of Wonders 4 I've talked about already. Look, I played it when it came out. I didn't get very far with it. I played it for about a week. I had problems when it was released. It had problems when it released that it wasn't something about my computer I didn't really like, so it was kind of bust. To be more accurate, there was a lot of CPU slowdown that it didn't need. It was driving my computer up the wall. It like almost shut my computer down one day because it was just something wrong with it. They fixed it. I came back and played it, and I was just like, I don't know, kind of bored now. I actually abandoned the series like about a third of the way in because it was just boring me. So yeah, I've always had this problem with Age of Wonders. I kind of admire Dad's tactic that he's got such passion for the game because I just can't get into it. I do like Age of Wonders Planetfall, but even that one, I can't stick at it for some reason. I think it's just one of those annoying games where I recognise that it's a good game, it's just not for me. It's like Endless Legends, another one. I think Endless Legends is quite a good game. I actually like Age of Wonders better than the Endless games by a long way. But I kind of think it's a good game. I just doesn't do anything for me. I talked about this before, but part of it is just it's overbalanced for multiplayer. There's nothing in it that really feels that threatening. Like in Conquest of Elysium, let's say that you've got a big army, right, and you come up against an enemy, a necromancer, and he's got the death spell, which in Conquest of Elysium is a very powerful spell, and it will just delete entire armies, right? And if you haven't got anything to counter that, it's game over. You've got to avoid it, and you've got to figure out a way to defeat that. There's nothing like that in Age of Wonders. There's no moments where you go, oh my god, look at what he's got. I can't beat that. I've got to come up with a plan now to defeat that. It doesn't have anything like that. Pretty much, it doesn't really matter what you choose. It's just different flavors of the same thing. So it doesn't. You don't ever feel very powerful in it. And I know I can hear the criticism coming in now. Oh, you didn't play it enough. It's like, yeah, I played it 20 hours, man. And I played a lot of Age of Wonders Planetfall and Age of Wonders 3. I know the games pretty well. I played it enough to kind of get my head around it and realize that it just, it's a good game and it's beautifully produced. Rob and I interviewed the guys from Triumph and they were really nice. They're like got massive respect for the development team. They pulled out Stormer. It was a fantastic release and it's sold amazingly and it's brought a lot of people into the genre. So they're, hats off to Triumph and Paradox for releasing such a good. I mean, apart from the mild, just for a few days, like a week, I was having problems technically, but that's par for the course of games design now, or games development now. It released in a way better state than Galciv did, like way more, and yet I just don't think that it's just as good a game for me. And I think that it's always going to be hard for Age of Wonders to muscle in on the games that I really love. I think Master of Magic's a better game. And that's going to upset a lot of people, I know, but there you go. Okay, Brigandine. Brigandine, the Legend of Runesia. What is this? This is a tactical JRPG. Well, it's not really a JRPG. It's a strategy game, tactics and strategy game. The overland strategic map's quite simple, and that's to its credit. I played the hell out of this in October. I played it a lot. This game is really good. You start with a small portion of the map, and you have territories, and each territory is good for recruiting a certain kind of monster. And you have these things called rune knights, who are your kind of characters. You start off with a handful of characters, and you recruit more. You fight the enemy characters, and the monsters. You summon the monsters to work for you. And you engage in battles. The battles are just really good fun. It's superb tactical combat. It's one of those. I'm not always that enthralled by JRPG style mechanics anymore, but this is a good one. This is a very, very good game. So I want to play it on the channel sometimes. This is just another one that's actually quite a long playthrough. Like, to complete a campaign is like, you're looking at 20, 30 hours probably, if you're good at it. So, and it's another one as well. It's got a bit of a weird difficulty curve. It's quite easy at the start of the game, even on the hard difficulty settings. But the difficulty doesn't really kick in until you start to win. So, like, as you start to get towards the end of the game, and you've killed a few factions off, and you've got a big empire. That's when the AI kind of like goes, "Oh, I need to wake up now and start playing properly," and it really does. And actually, at that point, if you don't save scum in this game, and if you don't replay battles that you've lost, actually, it's not that easy. But there's a temptation, like with these kind of games, if you lose a battle, to kind of replay it. If you don't do that, if you play Iron Man, this is a banging game, man. And I think that this was recommended to me by. I actually got this free with Explorminate, I think, for review. I think, and it was also recommended to me by my Japanese friend, Miyabi. And he was like, "Nah, man, you got to play this. This is great." He's also recommended Spellforce to me as well. I'm going to play that soon. Okay, Metal Gear Solid 5. Yeah, not much to say about this. This is a stealth game. It's old. I love the Metal Gear Solid series. I've been playing it since the very first Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation, which blew me away. I've been a massive fan of the series. I love Hideo Kojima. I think he's a genius. Well, he's edging towards genius. I love the stories in it. I think this is an underrated game. I think the story in this game is better than people make out as well. It's unfinished and a bit kind of weird because I think Konami unceremoniously booted Kojima from the company not long before it was released, and they really made a hash of things doing that. But he's gone on to do great things. He made Death Stranding, which is a fantastic game. Here's a bit of a weird one. I only just started getting this just before I went away on holiday. This is Starfleet 2 Krellin Command. Krellin Commander version 2.0. What is this? Let me show you. Let me show you this game. It's old. It's a DOSBox game, man. Here we go. We should put full screen. Okay. I'm like, a lot of you are going to look at this and go, "Oh, no, not for me." This is a game. It's kind of a reissue of the game from the 80s. I think it's from like 88 or something. An old PC game, version 2.0. Look at this. This is like the new version, and yeah, this is a game where you. Let's just see if I can show you something off. Okay, welcome to Centurion Battle Mode. So yeah, this is like a sort of partly a text-based game. It has got graphics, but yeah, I can't really show a lot of it off. But it looks like shit, right? It looks like a game from the obviously from DOS from 1988 or 1989, whenever it was. Apparently the game was a little bit buggy on release, so people loved it, but it didn't work properly. Whereas now it's really working really well. It's an incredibly good game. Yeah, I'm not going to go into showing you what this is. I think I need to show it to you, like actually play it and show it to you. But basically, you're the commander of a starship. You've got as you go through the ranks, you unlock missions. It teaches you how to play the game, and you and your empire are conducting a war, a war of conquest, and you're taking back territory from your opponent. And it's a fleet. It's like Carrier Command, I guess. It's like ASCII Carrier Command. Okay, that's probably the best way to put it. It's very much like Carrier Command in that respect. You've got a ship that's got escorts. There's loads of stuff you can do. You engage in fleet combat. You can invade planets. There's like a colony invasion mini game, sub game. It's actually quite complex. Everything in it's quite complex. You've got to manage resources. You've got to take planets. It's a bit of a 4X. It's a badass game. The just thing is, I just don't think many people would watch it because it's so old and kind of, I don't know. I could just see people complaining, "Oh, what the hell's that?" Like I just about got away with playing Lords of Midnight. People seem to like that. Field of Glory Empires. I played this multiplayer this year. I'm currently playing a game with Richard York and Simon, the Perceptive Gamer, as he's now called. So I'm playing that. That's what I've been playing on and off here for the last few months. I actually, when I went on holiday, we weren't able to pause the game because of Slytherin's stupid system. So I ended up having to hand it over to Richard to look after my empire for a bit. But that has been really good fun. And I also played a single player game in June, and which I'm still playing. Excellent grand strategy game. I like this better than any of the Paradox games. It's different, okay? It plays very different. It's more board game-ish, but it's very good. Set in the kind of time of the rise of the Roman Empire and before. You've got the Greek city-states, Sparta and all that, and Athens. And yeah, it's a great game. Go and check out my video if you want to hear more about that. All right. Then I played Death Stranding. Death Stranding is the other game by Hideo Kojima that I really like. This is a game that was quite divisive. I've played this before, by the way. This is the first time I've actually I bought myself a copy, but I played this right through on my missus' Steam account because I bought it for us one Christmas to play through, and we loved this game. It's so good. It's just a beautifully made, heartwarming, dark, kind of twisted, trippy, narrative game, but with great gameplay. You're just a delivery guy, basically. There is combat in it, but it's not the main focus of the game. You're actually delivering parcels to people, and it spookily predicted the stuff that was going on with the coof pandemic, let's call it. So it kind of predicted. It was weird. It predicted all that stuff. It was mad. So yeah, I love this game. It's great. I won't go on about it because it's not really a strategy game. But if you guys, if you looked at this and thought, oh, maybe I like this, I go and try this game. Go and try it. It's great. I think it's just one of the most amazing games ever made. Master of Magic, another 4X classic fantasy 4X game. This is the remake by Muha. I played. Look, 1% of my total playtime was this game. I played it a lot in January when it was released, or just after it was released last year. I've got a lot to say on this game, but I think basically I didn't really like. I think, how do I approach this conversation? Muha were in a bit of a bind with this, I think, because I think they wanted to do one thing with it, and Slytherin kind of wanted them to do something else, the publisher, and so they kind of made it a straight remake of the original game, but with some changes. So it wasn't a high definition remaster because it was different from the base game, you know, in subtly, but they captured the spirit of the game really well, right? I love the art in it. I think the animations and stuff are pretty good. I like the music. I like the aesthetic. They made a really good job of it, Muha did, and I really applaud what they did with that. They've kind of then been like given license to add DLCs, so that if you are somebody who wanted the base game, you can kind of just turn all the DLCs off and play something that's pretty close to the original game, right? The problem is that the original Master of Magic was a flawed game, and this is better, I think, than the original Master of Magic on DOS by Simtex, because that was kind of broken. But it changes some stuff. Yeah, it's hard. I didn't really play the original that much, to be honest. I prefer Caster of Magic, which is a mod of... Caster of Magic's a mod of the original Master of Magic made by a guy called Cerevi, who's done a magnificent job of basically making the game better, basically. And unfortunately, I just wish this was Caster of Magic. Like, if they'd have done... They couldn't do, and people would have really, been angry if they did. But I would love to see a mod of this made of Caster of Magic in these graphics. But because it's not Caster of Magic, and Caster of Magic is a drastically better game in my opinion. It's different as well. It's like there's room in the world for all of them. So I'm not saying that, if you like the base game and you don't like Caster, you're an idiot or anything. Like, you play what you want to play. I like Caster of Magic. I think it's a better game. I just think that it is a bit of a shame that this wasn't done on Caster. But anyway, then Muha released a bunch of DLC, and I don't know. Like, I didn't really like the character design in some of them. It just really deviated. Like, it started bringing in a load of steampunk stuff, and kind of like what looked to me like kind of like anime Lolita girls and stuff, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like the aesthetic, so I just kind of avoided that. And I've not gone. It kind of put a bit of a bad taste in my mouth about Muha's remake, and it's a shame because I know the guy a little bit from Muha. I've interviewed I forget her name now. Lovely woman. I've forgotten it. Sorry, I'm sorry, Muha lady. I've forgotten your name. Anyway, she's really, really lovely. She's a great person. She's great friends with Rob, and I think what they've done with this game is great. I don't know. I just kind of can't go back to it now. But I should do. Galciv 3, I've played a bit. This is mostly from getting video footage, although I did play it a whole bunch in January, but I've been getting video footage for this game quite a lot at work, so we'll just ignore that. Galciv 3 is still a good game, by the way. Gladius, I didn't play anywhere near as much as I thought I would. This is one of my favourite games, by the way, and you won't see that from this, the amount I've played it. I really played the hell out of this game before. It's one that I will religiously buy all the DLC for, because they're always great. It's a great game. I play it multiplayer now more than anything. I played Civ 4 a lot, and this is playing Fall from Heaven 2, Derek Paxton's amazing mod. It's one of the best Fantasy 4X games ever made. So I played the hell out of this in May. And yeah, not much more to say about that. I think Civ 4 base game and Beyond the Sword are still amazing games. Like, Soren Johnson's a genius. So is Derek Paxton. They made those two together with this mod and this game. It's just like match made in heaven, man. Okay, and I played Age of Wonders Planetfall. Right, we're kind of getting out of the, I'm going to go through these quick. Age of Wonders Planetfall, I played a fair bit in January, but once Age of Wonders 4 came out, I kind of dropped it. I like this game, I just don't love it. Again, typical Age of Wonders thing. Quasimorph I played when it came out. This is a really, really good game. This is a game I watched Dad's Tactic playing, and I was like, I like this. I can't remember if I did a video on this or not. I think I might have done, actually. But yeah, this is a kind of... It plays like a classic roguelike, but it's not. It's kind of confusing. I'm one of those annoying guys, right, who loves original classic roguelikes, like, Rogue and NetHack and Angband and, Moria and Adom, all those games. I love those original classic roguelikes. And I get really angry when people mistake them for games like Binding of Isaac and stuff, which Isaac's a great game, but it's not a fucking roguelike, okay? It's a roguelite. And but this is it's cunning. This is a roguelite that looks like a roguelike. And I actually thought it was a roguelike for a bit, but it's not. It's not quite. But it's a dead good game. It's kind of like a little bit like Doom RPG, Doom RL, if you ever played that. Or it's kind of got that kind of vibe anyway. Demons in sci-fi demons basically, and you have these kind of clone soldiers that you send in to do missions. You have to. It's usually like a smash and grab raid, or go and kill you got to go and kill something and escape. It's difficult. It's got loads of content now. It's got more content, I think, now than it had. I saw Daz talking about this on his end of year stream, and he says it's just improved. So I need to go back and play this, but I like this game. I think it's really good. What else we got? Sifu. Sifu's a martial arts game. I did martial arts for a long, long time when I was younger. I'm not very fit anymore, but I still got a bit of a thing for martial arts, particularly in kung fu films. And this is kind of like playing your own kung fu film. It's it's a beat 'em up basically. And it's designed to be. It's one of those games. I can't remember what you call them now, but like Bayonetta, games that are designed to be like beat 'em up games where they're designed to be played skillfully, so that you can show off and like really play around with the different moves. This is a really great game. Okay, Dune Spice Wars. All right, I played this entirely in September. I never went back to it. By the way, because it's Christmas, I'm drinking some Okinawan sake that I got from. It's not actually sake. It's called amawari, I think. It's kind of a sake. It's like rice wine, like sake, but it's distilled, so it's a kind of like as strong as a spirit. It's about 40%, and you drink it. You put some in the bottom of a big glass, and then you fill it up with water, and it's delicious. So I'm drinking that today. Okay, so Dune Spice Wars. This was. Yeah, okay. So I think this is a great game. It's as much an this is by the guys who did Northgard, Shiro games. I'm going to ignore the controversy over. There's some controversy in the fan group about some of the stuff that they did with the franchise and the IP. I'm a big fan of Dune, but my love affair with Dune basically ends with the first book. I think the first book's amazing. I think the second book was okay. And I didn't really bother with any of them after that, but I think Frank Herbert's Dune, the original book, is amazing, and I do like the new film remakes as well, and I like David Lynch's bizarre film as well, because I love Lynch. But this is like an RTS 4X hybrid game. It's really good. It's really good. My problem with it is that it's an RTS game. It's kind of got crappy pathfinding. It had like when I was playing, it had a load of bugs in the pathfinding, so I found it incredibly frustrating to play. It's also quite a frustrating game to learn how to play as well. So it's got its problems. This has, but this is one of the best games released this year, I'd say. I think it's one of the best games released this year. I was a little bit unfair on it if you've heard me talking about it on the channel or Discord. I've been kind of mean about this game. Now I've thought about it more. I think it is a really, really damn good game. I just think that I don't really care about RTS anymore. It kind of like my main gripe with the game was it kind of pretended. The developers like, look, it's not an RTS, but it is, and it's like, it is an RTS. You can pause it, but it still kind of like punishes you for not maintaining your attention in 10 places at once. And I don't really like games like that anymore. I haven't really got the patience for them, but it is a great game, and the mechanics in it are wonderful. There's loads of cool stuff you can do in that game. Mech Warriors 5 Mercenary. I love BattleTech. This is a BattleTech game. You get to pilot big stompy robots, go on missions. The base game's kind of crap, but when you add loads of DLC, when you add the DLC and loads of mods, this game goes from like, kind of fun to awesome. I played this loads in 2022, and I've played it a fair amount here as well. Sean from Explorminate loves this as well. Like me and Sean played it multiplayer a little bit. Me and Sean's brothers played some multiplayer of this, and it was really, really cool. So yeah, I like this game. Great fun. If you got a HOTAS, like a joystick system with a throttle, then this game's excellent. It's like really good fun. Bolt Gun is what they call a boomer shooter. This is made in the same style as kind of Duke Nukem 3D, the original, and it's a Warhammer 40k shoot 'em up. It's pretty good. Didn't play it a whole lot, but it's really, really good. Warsim. Yeah, I really got into this year, and then I kind of played it. I played the hell out of it for a couple of weeks and then put it down. Basically, Warsim is a text-based adventure. Well, yeah, it's a text-based game. It looks like an old BBC Micro game or something. and you build your empire. You have like rival factions. It's procedurally generated. There's loads and loads of content in it. It's dead good fun. It's like dirt cheap. Just go and buy this game, man. If you like playing procedurally generated games and you don't mind, you don't mind ASCII art because it's all the artwork, and there's loads of art in it. You got the developers like filled it full of ASCII art and animations. It's fantastic. It's a work of art, this game. Is it a good game? Yeah, it's a good game. It's got its issues, I think, but it's, it kind of gets a bit, it feels a bit, I got a bit bored of it, but it is really, really good. And I think, it costs like £5 or something, man. Just go and buy it. It's great. Stellar Sovereigns. This is a game that my friend Aaron keeps trying to get me to play. And it's a complex space 4X in the same vein as Swords of the Stars, I guess, is probably its main inspiration, at least from the way it looks. I haven't really played it enough to be able to give you a big opinion on it. It looks great though. It's complex. It's got some like Shadow Empire-ish complexity in the city management. It's not quite that much, like nowhere near as much, but it's complex. It's like one of those games where you look at it and you go, "Oh, holy shit! I'm gonna have to spend like 2-3 weeks figuring this out." And that's kind of what's put me off playing it. But I've heard it's excellent. I played Shogun Total War a little bit too this year. Played a part of a campaign through because I never really played this one that much. I played the original Shogun a lot. This is the last great Total War game that Creative Assembly made, I think. I think all of the others after this were kind of crap. I do like Warhammer, but just because I like Warhammer stuff, mechanically I don't think it's a great game. Warhammer's fun, but it's like really fun, but I don't think it's a great game. It's so buggy and broken and just kind of trashy, but it is also really good fun. But this is a really, really good game mechanically. It's superb. Gloomhaven is a board game adaptation. Very, very hardcore tactics game. Very difficult. Very good fun with friends. We're kind of going. I'm not going to go through all of these, by the way, because there's just too many. I'll just mention them briefly. Xenonauts 2 came out this year. I haven't played it a whole lot. It's not finished yet, so I just don't want to spoil it. It's an XCOM remake, basically. It's a remake of XCOM. It's a remake. Well, it's the sequel to an XCOM remake, basically. It's got its own vibe and flavor. It's suitably different now from UFO, the original UFO, that I think it's worth playing. It's a really, really good game. I think the tactical combat in this game is excellent. And the strategic side of it is improving. Not much more to say about that, really. Daz has done loads of videos on this. Galciv 2 I haven't really played. This is just for, getting video footage for work. Interstellar Space Genesis, I played this loads in January. This is a really good game now, by the way. I think that this is up there with Stars in Shadow for being, the best sort of Master of Orion-like game after Master of Orion or Remnants of the Precursors. So yeah, this is it's come on a long way. It's got a load of its own unique stuff in it now. This is a great game. I really need to do a playthrough on the channel. I think that is it Proxy Studios? No, that's not Proxy. Praxis. Praxis Studios. They made this, and this is really, really, really good. Combat Mission Black Sea is a combat mission game. If you don't know what these are war games. They're war games, basically. Turn-based. You can play them real time as well, but they're kind of a turn-based combat simulation game. Incredibly heavy on the simulation side of things. This is what I imagine warfare's really like. I've never been in a war, thank God. But I imagine if you were in a war, then this would be it. By the way, Combat Mission Black Sea came out well before the conflict in Ukraine kicked off. Okay, so I think some people might find this kind of a bit bad taste at the moment. I don't care about shit like that. What's going on there is tragic, but it doesn't really inflict on my gameplay. And however, yeah, I've seen some people mention that, like, oh God, why would you play that, at this time? But it is a hypothetical scenario between Russia and Ukraine, basically. But mechanically, this is an amazing game. I have played that on the channel before, I think, at least on Explorminate. Mech Engineer came out this year. I haven't really played this much. This is a weird little indie game where you build these little mechs and you kit them out with all these different stuff, and then you've got to kind of save planet Earth. It's really weird. I love it. I love the user interface in it. I did a video on how good the user interface was. I got loads of people arguing with me, like, what are you on about? The user interface is like old and crap. And I was like, no. You have to understand. This is what I want from games. I want games that has a user interface that feels like part of the game, not that's been tacked on, like most 4X games is now. Toho. These are bullet hell games. I've really got into bullet hell games recently, mostly on the Nintendo Switch. I might talk about Switch games later, but basically, I played this for a little bit. This is great. It's just some weeby anime crap, but it's a really, really good bullet hell game. Wizard and Warlords is a 4X game. I came back to this year and played it for a bit in September. I like this game a lot. I wish the developer worked a bit quicker on it, but he's an indie dev, so he's probably got a job and stuff, a real job. But this is a really, really cool This is like kind of like Deity Empires, maybe. It looks a bit like that. It's also got kind of like quite lo-fi graphics. It uses a lot of Steam. It uses a lot of Unity assets. One of the things I don't like about this game. So it uses a lot of like Unity stuff. So you'll see the same icons for this game and the tile sets and stuff in all the other Unity games ever been made. That aside, it's a really unique little 4X game. I think if he tightens it up a little bit, it's going to be excellent. I'll have to do a video on this. Stellaris, I played a little bit this year. I tried to get back into it. I just can't. I don't hate it anymore, though. I hated this game at one point. I thought it was crap. I've changed my mind. I think Stellaris is a really good game. I just don't... It's a really good kind of role-playing experience. It's not a very good 4X game. But, your mileage may vary. Stellaris is unfeasibly popular, so it's doing something right. I like Stellaris. I like the first sort of 3 hours, and then I just kind of get bored of it. What else have we got? Metal Gear Solid 5. Yeah, Ground Zero is okay. Yeah, more Metal Gear Solid. Shadow Empire, right. I've actually played this a lot more than this year. I don't play this on Steam. I play it on Matrix mostly. So, I play the Matrix version. I'm going to do a video on Shadow Empire soon, talking about Shadow Empire, because it's changed a lot, and I haven't really had a chance to play it much this year. After the DLC came out, I kind of... Come on, Steam, stop messing me around. I kind of like... I had other stuff to do, so I've not really had that much chance to play Shadow Empire, to be honest. But it's one of my favourite games. It's up there with Conquest of Elysium for like how much I love it. Pegasus Expedition came out this year. I got this for review. I did. I got this sent to me as a key from an agency, and they want me to cover it. I did one video on it and realised I didn't like it. So it's kind of a weird 4X-ish kind of tactics sort of strategy thing. It's story based, so it kind of put me off a little bit. I think it looks like it's really good. I just didn't really click with me. Wildermyth is a kind of like story based tactics game with procedurally generated stories. This is a wonderful game. I'm not the person to show this off to you because I don't love it like everyone else does, but it is. I think it's great. I think it's a really good game. I played that a little this year. Star Traders Frontiers. I'm still not sure if I like this or not. I really hate the art style in it. That's what puts me off it. Like all the characters just look really sappy. They've got this really sappy, gormless look on their face, and it really annoys me. It's so immersion breaking, and I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3 at the moment, and it's kind of the same thing. I really hate all the characters in it, so it just kind of puts me off. Power Vacuum is a little game that I need. I'm going to show you this actually at some point. This is a puzzle game, a 4X-ish puzzle game. Very good. Armageddon Empires, you know this one. I've played this a lot. This game is a post-apocalyptic 4X game. In theme, it's very close to Shadow Empire, but it's a board game basically. Cryptic Comet, same guys who did Solum Infernum, which is being remade at the moment. This is one of my favourite games. It's amazing. I'm going to play this again soon. Second Front. Okay, I'm going to talk about that. Erratus. Yeah, okay. All right, let me talk about it. I didn't like something about this game, so I refunded it. I feel a bit bad because it's actually a really good game, but it felt a bit gamey in places. Daz Tactic loves this game though. Erratus is a really, really, really cool kind of Darkest Dungeon style game. It's way better than Darkest Dungeon though. This is really brilliant. This is my favorite of those kind of games, Darkest Dungeon like games. I love the I love the art, the character design in it. It's played with is it Stephen Waits? He does the voice of Erratus. Is so good in it. It's got great voice acting. It's quite punishing. It's just a really good game. I love it. Okay, we're coming down into this stuff. I'm not going to go through all of these now, guys, because most of these I just played for. Okay, right. Master of Magic is worth talking about. So I like this is Master of Magic Classic. This is actually logging me playing Caster of Magic. So I like Castle Magic a lot. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite Fantasy 4X games. Zork's an ancient text adventure. That was part of some research I was doing for something. Kenshi's an RPG. I really want to play this, but this is something that I might play on RPG Sundays. Kenshi's like a survival RPG. It's a role. It's an RPG basically, a CRPG, but with base building built into it and trade, and it's dead weird. Yeah, it's Kenshi. I don't really know how to describe Kenshi. It's just punishing, very very difficult, very fun. It's one of the it's one of the most unique games ever made, and I don't say stuff like that lightly. There's nothing quite like Kenshi in the world. There's no other game quite like it. It is kind of an RPG sort of, yeah, it's an RPG base building sandbox game, something like that. It's got loads of mods. It's super moddable. Kenshi 2's in development. Yeah, go check it out. All right, Jagged Alliance 3 I bought. I've taken flack from people for this, so let me set the record straight with how I feel about this game. I don't like it. I didn't like it. I'm a huge fan of Jagged Alliance 2. I think Surtech Canada, for all their flaws, did make some good games, and I think Jagged Alliance 2 is a really good game, especially with the V1.13 mod, or whatever it's called. That is like what is one of the best tactics games ever made. It's up there with XCOM, the original UFO XCOM, for being one of the best tactics games ever made. It's amazing. And this is XCOM. This is a Firaxis XCOM reskin of Jagged Alliance, basically, in my opinion. I didn't like it. I didn't get that far into playing it myself, but I watched hours and hours of other people playing it, and I talked to people in the Jagged Alliance community, the veterans of which largely agreed with me. This is a bit of a soul. It's, is probably good if you've not played Jagged Alliance 2. So if you've played Jagged Alliance 2, particularly with the mods, and you've seen how much depth that game's got, then you will not. This has got like 1% or 5% of the gameplay and content of Jagged Alliance 2. It's just not there, and like I can't be objective about it because it's very difficult for me to. I didn't play it a lot myself, but from what I saw, from what I played, and the vibe I got from it, I was just like, nah, this ain't for me. This is all I'm going to want to do. All I wanted to do while I was playing this was play Jagged Alliance 2. I was like, God, this game sucks. Jagged Alliance 2 is so much better. I could not. So it was one of those rare games that I refunded. Like, yeah, I don't care about that. Shadow of War, yeah, I don't care about that. Scythe's a board game remake. Not really played it very much. Okay, everything else is just we're kind of getting into the dregs of stuff now, guys. Is there anything worth talking about here? A One Piece game. I really like One Piece, by the way. I love anime and manga, and One Piece is my favorite. I love pirates, and I love One Piece. By the way, I love One Piece so much. I've actually considered making another channel just so I can talk about it. That's how much I love One Piece. And if you don't know what it is, you know, most of my strategy game, like 40-something fans are going to be going, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But this is like my favorite thing. Bannerlord's great. Yeah, this is now we're getting into where I just clicked on something just for half an hour. So yeah, there's nothing really much more to talk about from this year, I don't think, guys. So yeah, anyway, that's an hour of me waffling about games. So yeah, my year. Let me talk about the year in summary. I don't think there's really much else to talk about. Dwarf Fortress. I must have played that this year. No, I didn't. Okay, right. Look, you can go back and look at your last year, by the way, and I think we should do that because let's look at the 2022 year in review, and we'll just look at this. Wow, actually, in 2020, I only played 25 new games. All right, so that's kind of about. I'm getting stuck in my ways. Look, in that year, Dominions mostly, Warhammer 3 and Warhammer 2. I played loads of those. Lots of Warhammer. What else did I play loads of? Conquest of Elysium 5, Mech Warrior 5, Mercenaries. Yeah, we're not going to go through all these guys, but yeah, so I played loads of Bannerlord, I played loads of Civ 4, played loads of Distant Worlds 2, I played loads of Dwarf Fortress, I played loads of Wizards and Warriors, Wizards and Warlords, sorry. I played that game quite a lot. I played Blood Bowl. Yeah, again, last year, most of the time I was playing games, it was pretty much Dominions. I played Dominions a lot. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, 2023 was a bit of a a not a great year for me games wise, to be honest. I think that there's a lot of games that released that I think were overrated. Like I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3 at the moment. Well, my missus is playing it. And I'm kind of helping her out a little bit, and yeah, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is a good game, but there's some really, really annoying crap in it that really pisses me off. Like, one, I hate how ugly all the player characters are. What they did it deliberately as well, and it really annoys me. It's like, oh, we didn't want to make like super beautiful, hot characters. It's like I play role-playing games, right, to escape from being an ugly fucker. I like, to me, yeah. I'm from a time when, like, I'm from the 80s and 90s where it was like where sexy was cool and sexy sold. So I'm brought up on sexy, and if I can't have sexy in role playing games, I'm fucking not interested. So that's a really big problem for me, because seeing these ugly fucking characters, some of them are good looking, but like the player character, you don't get. There are no, like my missus wanted to play. She was annoyed by it as well. This is not just horny old man, by the way. My missus, who also, she said the same thing. She goes, I want to play someone who's beautiful and like good looking, and kind of like it shows the hero like aesthetic. The classical, beautiful hero, like those Greek gods that you see, enshrined in these wonderful carvings and paintings and stuff. Not this kind of ugly crap that is being forced into games. I hate it. I'm not going to talk about it too much because it's veering into politics and I don't want to piss people off. But yeah, that was one thing that annoyed me about Baldur's Gate. The other thing is that we're playing it with a controller, and I think the controller, because my missus kind of likes playing stuff with controllers if she can. And I think the controller version of the game is no way as good as the mouse and keyboard. Fortunately, the controller broke. We've had to send it back to be repaired. And so she started playing it with the mouse and keyboard. And it turns out that it's actually way better. And a lot of the gripes that I had about the game aren't there with the keyboard, mouse and keyboard version. I don't like the D&D set that Baldur's Gate's using. I really don't like it. I don't know why. It's using this new, I don't know, 5 point something or other. And it's crap. Like, it's just really dumbed down. And like my missus said, actually, I like this. I wouldn't want it to be any more complex. If the combat was any more complex, I wouldn't enjoy it. So, fair play. No wonder it's so popular. But I think that Baldur's Gate 3, with the absolute hype that it's had, and the massive sales that it's had, and well done to Larian, by the way, for releasing a really, really good game. No doubt, man. Like, they've knocked it out the park with it. It's a really good game. But is it a masterpiece? I'm sorry, but we're 10 years too early to decide that. I think people will still be playing Baldur's Gate 3 in 10 years, though. So I think it's probably going to be seen as a masterpiece. I think that because of what happened with the COVID pandemic and the way that it affected developers and finances and the economy, we had a load of games rushed out because companies were desperate to make money. They rushed these games out half baked, and Baldur's Gate didn't. And games like Age of Wonders 4 didn't. And just the games that were, the developers that could afford or were patient enough to finish their games in great state before they released it. Even if they're not the greatest games, they're being lauded as the best thing since sliced bread. And Age of Wonders 4 is a good game, but it's not great. But the fact that it released in a strong state really, really, made it stand out from all the other stuff. And, like, I have to include Gal Civ 4 in that. Gal Civ 4, even Supernova, released kind of buggy, and, like, it's still kind of buggy. If Gal Civ 4 had released in the same, state as Age of Wonders 4, it would have done really well, I think. It wouldn't have had half the negative reviews that it's got. But unfortunately, the realities of games development is that sometimes you've got, in order to pay your staff, you've got to get the game out. And that was the case with Stardust, with Gal Civ 4, I believe. So, not everyone can afford to do that. But anyway, without rambling too much, Baldur's Gate is the epitome of a good game that's kind of seems like a great game because it was one of the only games that actually released that wasn't in a shit, shoddy, buggy state. But it is a good game, and I'm not denying that. I think it's just there's just some stuff in it that bugs me. Okay, I do want to talk about some of the non-Steam games just quickly before I finish. And if you stuck around with me this long, guys, thank you very much. I tell you why I did this video, by the way. I recorded a Gal Civ 4 episode. For some reason, OBS does not like Gal Civ at the moment. I need to get it fixed before I go back to work, because I'm going to have to be, I'm going to have to be using it. But I don't know why, but I recorded a 45-minute episode of Gal Civ, so you got something else to watch other than Conquest of Elysium, and then it just didn't record again. and it looked like it was recording and it wasn't. So I don't know what the hell's going on there. But so I was a bit frustrated, and I was like, you know what? I'll do an end of year video just so you guys have got something to watch. So thanks for watching. What else did I play this year? I played Songs of Conquest. This is a Heroes of Might and Magic like game. This is really good. I think the game design in this game is really good. I've been talking to a friend of mine who was having real problems with it. He's finding it really difficult, but I think when you get your head around how the mechanics in Songs of Conquest work, it's really good fun. What else did I play? Yeah, okay. So Shadow Empire's had loads of changes this year. Haven't really had a chance to check them all out. I played Oceania DLC a lot this year. I think it's great DLC. I don't think it's for everybody though. Aside from not bringing in, people were disappointed that it didn't bring in naval units, which I don't really care about. But it adds like a kind of very economy-based grand strategy meta game over the top of everything else. So if you're a beginner, I'd avoid Oceania. It's really complex, and you have to know the economy really well. Like I put it on a hard setting and I struggled with it, man. It was difficult. So yeah, but it's great. Shadow Empire's just going from strength to strength. Vic's going through and like just adding loads more detail in the game. He's fixing bugs and changing gameplay by adding more detail, which is amazing. Like he figured out that people were complaining a little bit about how easy it was in certain areas. Like for example, the survival aspect of the game. With the economy, it was too easy to get stuff like water and trade. It was too easy to trade for gold, for resources and stuff. So instead of like just nerfing everything, which would have been the lazy way of fixing it, he added in more details. So he's like, right, now we've got these, the traders now. He's just like added loads more detail. Like now, for example, water's harder to get because he added a load more rules into planet generation. Whereas, so different planets will generate water in different ways. Guy's a genius, man. Like seriously, this is how to do games design, right? Don't add arbitrary limitations because they feel arbitrary. Instead, add more detail that makes the game more complex or interesting or difficult. Like this guy's one of the finest games designers ever made, who has ever graced the planet, I'd say. What else did I play this year? A little bit of Mech Warrior, Mega Mech. Mega Mech's BattleTech, tabletop BattleTech, except brought into the computer sphere. I played this quite a lot in multiplayer with my friend Coffee. I also started a campaign. I've not finished it because I need to go back and finish that. Actually, I was having good fun with that. It's just kind of long. Spellforce Conquest of EO, right? This game came out this year. This is most people. I think anybody who doesn't like Age of Wonders 4, this is the game that everybody's saying to play. Apparently, like this again. My friend Miyabi, my Japanese friend, he's been telling me to play this. He said, if you didn't like Age of Wonders 4 so much, go and play Spellforce. He said, if you see it more like an RPG, like a tactics RPG, rather than a 4X, because it's not really a 4X. It's got 4X-like mechanics, but it's more of it's actually a role-playing game with tactical combat. But he said, it's amazing. This is meant to be brilliant, so I really want to get into this and play it. I was like Dad's Tactic. I was initially a bit nonplussed that it wasn't procedurally generated, but I don't think it needs to be. This is its own thing, and I think this is going to be my next playthrough for a fantasy game. So yeah, there we go. What else we got? Ex-Pirates. I don't think I played that this year. This is one of my favorite games, by the way, but it's just too long and it's a bit lewd. So it's kind of got like not safe for work art in it and stuff. So it's kind of big titty pirate bimbos killing aliens and Nazis. It's wicked. It's kind of the aesthetic in it's amazing, but more so the games design is absolutely phenomenal. It's it's like a mod for UFO, the original XCOM, but it's really complicated. Loads of detail, more content than any other game that I've ever played, maybe. Apart from maybe Dominions, it's the amount of content that's in that is rivaling Dominions, and it's one developer, so that just goes to show how much this guy works on this game. It's fantastic, but will you ever see it on the channel? I don't know. It's very long. The other thing is very difficult, so I'm not that good at it. It would be cool to show some of it off. It's kind of like got some not safe for work stuff, but it's not a porn game. It's just kind of got women with their boobs out, let's say. There's a lot of that. So it's kind of like, it's very much a game made by people on the internet for people on the internet. Like, if you like hang around on 4chan message boards and stuff. It's probably something you'd get into. Okay, what else? Yeah, that's about it, guys. Oh yeah, I played a load of John Tiller stuff this year as well. I've been playing Full the Gap in multiplayer. I played some Career 85. So these are the modern campaigns games. These are damn good, man. They're so slow to play. I feel bad because the guy I'm playing this with, he's not had his turn for a while, and it's because every time I play it, I've got to record a 2-hour episode and I've got to think. So actually, it takes 2 hours to make the moves, but if you also want to think about it as well, that's another 2 hours on top. So it's like really, 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 really hard work, but best game ever. It's dead good. Maybe I'll play some of this John Tiller stuff and show you it off. Can't remember if I actually played anything on the channel before. I might have played... Did I play one of the Napoleonic games? Can't remember now. Yeah, I played some CRPG stuff. And I played loads of bullet hell games and, kind of like... Things like Super Mario and stuff I've been playing on the Switch. Alright guys, yeah, I've had enough talking now. I'm sure you've got sick of listening to it. Thanks for watching, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. If you don't do all that celebration stuff, I hope you've survived the holiday period. And keep watching in the new year. I'm going to be back at work soon, so but I am intending to get a daily video out. That's my New Year's resolution, on top of making some music, is to try to get a video out every day or every couple of days at least. Because my channel was growing really fast this year until I kind of like got lazy with putting videos out. So expect some more, better, kind of more scripted content from me. I've got a few things in the works that I'm going to try and finish off. But yeah, anyway, thanks guys. I'll catch you next time. Happy New Year, and I'll catch you in the new year for some gaming. Take care.